You let out a disappointed grunt as the stubborn sales pony sticks to his price, making you question the sign that reads, "Haggling allowed," out front. The stallion was either new to the concept of haggling, or he knew it all too well. Based on his scruffy beard and overall appearance, you assume it's the latter. The guy acts like he'd charge you 20 bits for a cherry. Groaning at your desperation, you fork over 7 bits, and he greedily collects them as he hands over the flowers. 5 roses in a purple vase, 3 pink, 1 purple, 1 light blue. The same colors as the most beautiful mare you've ever laid your eyes on. It's been a couple months since you moved to Ponyville, after hearing it referred to as the capital of friendship countless times back in Manhattan. Your only friends back home were either self-centered, manipulative jerks, or even better, they were your only acquaintances that acted polite, but you always knew that they thought of you as a bother. Shaking your head to stir yourself from the unpleasant memories of your past life, you instead tried to remember the days since you moved here. The first pony you saw, oddly enough, was the other latest resident, Starlight Glimmer, and you were frozen at the sight of her. That silken pink coat, that luxurious bicolor mane, and of course, the first thing you noticed when you saw her, those beautiful, breathtaking, shining sapphires that could only be seen in her eyes. They were so deep, and they held such emotion. You knew yourself to be completely unworthy of such a goddess's presence, and you immediately ducked out of her way and into an alley. You thanked Celestia that she at least offered you a gracious smile and a lovely welcome as she passed.
Hello.
Her voice was like a choir of angels to your dumbstruck ears. You were already shy around strangers, but in that small moment, you couldn't even bring yourself to move. Ever since then, your heart was for her. 8 weeks prior.
Hey, you! Anon!
You chuckle to yourself as you turn around, soon greeted by a cheerful Rainbow Dash, holding her hoof out to you. You take her hoof in yours and shake it. You'd become friends with most of the main characters of Ponyville by now. Sunflower Raindrops, Derpy Hooves, Dr. Hooves, Lyra, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy. Most of the ponies you thought were worth the effort of socializing with. At the moment, you were just hanging out in the town square, until someone called for your aid. That's what you usually do on summer days like this.
So, Rainbow, is this the pony you were talking about earlier?
Your heart stops, and you feel your face grow slightly warm as that angelic voice caresses your ears like a brook's melody. Holy shit, she's standing right behind you. What do you say? What do you do? What accent do you use? Why are you suddenly so nervous? Why is she so sexy? What the heck is your brain doing right now? Say something, damn it! You suddenly feel the need to go bang your head on something really hard, use the bathroom, and throw up. Your nerves are all over the place, despite your miraculous, calm exterior. All this apparently takes place in less than a second, as you see Rainbow give you a cocky look.
Yep, this is him, alright.
She states proudly. Half of you wants to strangle that little brat, and the other half of you wants to kiss her. It's at this point that you realize you've lost your mind, and have descended into a reality where all you can see is pink hearts, hellfire, and nothing else. A single bead of sweat forms on your brow as Starlight walks around in front of you, and looks you right in the... Oh, for the love of Luna, why were her eyes so shiny? Suddenly, the once pleasant temperature of this sunny day becomes increasingly uncomfortable. You'd give anything for a glass of lemonade about right now. Starlight extends her hoof with a cute smile, and speaks in the prettiest tone you've heard yet.
Hi.
She says simply. Your heart is racing, your blood pressure is skyrocketing, and she's only said one word to you. From the outside, you look like you're just meeting another pony, but you're about to have an aneurysm if you don't say something soon. What's up? You say, taking her hoof with a gentle shake. You mentally slap yourself multiple times for that opener, and remind yourself of a perfectly useful well 30 feet to your right.
Not much. Rainbow here said you were a fun pony to hang out with, so I thought I'd come over and chat.
She says softly. Did she now? You ask quietly, turning your head to fix RD with a fierce look. But the twerp is nowhere to be found. Obviously she knew how you'd react to this. Next time you see her, however, you're going to hug her in thanks, and then proceed to strangle her for this.
Yeah. So, what kind of things do you like to do?
You feel a lump form in your throat, but you quickly swallow it, and decide that there's no going back now. Besides, to you, she looks just as shy as you are about right now. But you might just be reading too deeply into that. Right? Present day. You and Starlight became practically inseparable since then. She'd even included you into her circle of best friends. Your relationship with her wasn't anywhere near mere friend status, but RD won't stop teasing you, saying,
It's only a matter of time, lover boy.
that mare might be like a sister to you, but sometimes you just want to strangle her with a cake. Anyway, at least she was the one who introduced you to, and you and Starlight had helped each other out of depression innumerable times. You never really got to hear what exactly about her past was causing her depression, but she made it clear to you that your very presence helps. You really don't mind supporting her for two reasons. She'd do the same for you, and she always lets you sit a little closer each time. You can't help but feel your heart race as you imagine giving these flowers to her, eventually. Hopefully they won't end up dead by the time you swallow your nerves. You saunter through town, heading to your shack near the woods. Your road takes you past the palace, and you can't help but take a brief glance, hoping to catch sight of the most beautiful creature in the world. Finding none, however, you sigh in slight defeat, and prance back down the road at a quickened pace. Later that day. You sit there, on your little couch, with the open notebook laying perfectly on the table before you. Normally, you'd be writing lyrics, or drawing pictures by this point. You're not amazing at what you do, but it helps to pass the time, and puts bits in your pocket, especially when the overgenerous Final buys your songs. She may be a mute, but her actions speak volumes. It feels weird to have a fan. But today, you decide to do something a little different. You take the pencil in your teeth and start writing. That mare of Starlight, her eyes shine so bright, easily outglowing the stars every night. My heart is leaping, her memory I'm keeping, even if friendship is the only song we'll cite. Passion is burning, emotions are churning, hopeless I'm flightless without her by my side. Daylight surrounds me whenever she's around me. I don't care if it's creepy, for her I will die. Listen to my heartstrings, you'll hear that they all sing, a song of longing yet strange satisfaction. Of all the ponies, she's the only one I ever see. Some ponies save me from the deadly attraction. I will stand by her side till the day that I die. If she's ever in need of me, through a storm I will fly. In the silence of a sleepless night, I wish she was with me. And until that day comes, her very friendship is ecstasy. Sweet mare of Starlight, eyes shining so bright, I wish you knew how I feel for you. Though my eyes are weeping, my heart's content in sleeping, and will continue to do so, no love needed from you. Just be a friend, till the end, and I'll be satisfied. Though I'm in love with you, it won't break me. Darker things I have tried, I will survive. You place the pencil to the side, and give a grateful smile at your own work. Granted, no pony will ever see it, but it's nice to know that you can still vent your true feelings somehow. Now, if only you had the guts to give this to her. Groaning at your neck for ruining what used to be a pretty good mood, you get up from the couch and head to the door, deciding to take a walk through the Everfree once more. Timberwolves weren't up this season, so you had nothing to worry about. That evening, you take several breaths as you stroll through the enchanting wood, drinking in sweet forest air into your lungs like nectar to a bee. You feel like you've been walking for days, yet still feel oddly refreshed as the brisk wind kisses your cheeks, turning them a slight shade of pink. The image of the smiling face of your crush haunts your mind, yet you don't fight it in the least as you head to your favorite place to relax, a little lake you affectionately called Summer Spring. After remembering that you came up with that name, you re-examine your life, wondering where in the hell you lost your sense of poetics. Not long after questioning your sanity, you come across Summer Spring, and are about to step out of the foliage when you hear a foreign sound, almost like some pony crying? You freeze as you search around, and your heart instantly stops once you notice the mare sitting just beside the entrance. There, lying beside the natural hedge, with her face buried in her forearms, is the most stunning creation the gods had ever placed upon the earth. Starlight Glimmer herself. You can tell by the occasional snuffles and gasps that arise from her, and the rapid rising and falling of her form, that she is crying hard. You want to help, but how would your appearance here at what she probably thought was her private place not come off as totally creepy? She looked like she wanted time to herself, but her actions screamed desperately for your aid. You can't just stand there like a creep and watch her cry, now can you? Hesitantly, you walk out as quietly as you can and lay down beside her. Boldly, you take a hoof and wrap it around her. She freezes from the contact, but only long enough to look up at you. Once she sees who it is that comes to her side, she dives into your hooves and lets you hold her tenderly as you allow her tears to stain your chest, and you stroke her mane out of reflex. It's the same thing your mother used to do whenever you had one of your attacks. And now, you're showing the exact care and love to your best friend. But rather than focusing on making your move, you're too caught up in just being there for her. It's far too obvious to you that she needed a shoulder, or rather a chest, to cry on right now. And you're the only friend for miles. You let the racking sobs shudder her form, and you fight back the urge to start crying yourself. It hurts you to see her like this, and her friends better pray that they were not the cause of it. Slowly yet reassuringly, her sobs die off, allowing you two to just share the comfort of the other. You look down into her oceanic eyes, which were now tear-stained, puffy, and red. "Tell me," you whisper softly, caressing her mane once more. She looks away for a moment, clearly wondering if she should tell you.
I can't. You'll think I'm a monster,
She says, the tears even staining her voice. Tenderly, you brush a hair from her face, and gently guide her head to look you in the eye. "Angels can't be monsters, Starlight," you say poetically. Her eyes light up slightly, and her cheeks somehow gain a pinker shade, but she still remains silent. "I won't try and force you to tell me, Starlight. But know this, whatever you've done, there is no way I'd ever think any less of you," you say in a soft but stern voice. After a moment of thought, her head droops, and she sighs.
You really want to know, huh?
You nod. "In case there's any way I can help, yes." She lays on her back on the grass and lays her forehoofs on her stomach, nodding for you to lay beside her. You comply, and she starts her story.
Well, I guess it all starts from the beginning. You see, when I was a small foal back in my hometown, I didn't have many friends. In fact, there was only one. And, well, that's when I became her student.
Your jaw is on the ground. You cannot believe what you just heard. Starlight, epitome of beauty and grace, was powerful enough to hold her own against an alicorn in a duel of pure magical strength, and travel through time? Granted, she also used to be evil, but after the shit she's been through, losing her only childhood friend at such a young age, all because of a natural occurrence in every foal's life, and then having her philosophies torn asunder so violently when she truly didn't know better, you can see why she did all that she did, despite what it all had caused. Looking over your silent stance, she tears up and faces away from you.
I'm sorry. You must think I'm a beast.
She mutters weakly. "No, I don't, Starlight. You're shocked by your own words, as for a moment, you thought they were from someone else. They just came so naturally that you didn't notice them until they were spoken. If anything, now I can only think more of you. She rolls over to face you on the grass, eyes still teary, but now filled with shock, hope, and intrigue. An absolute decision forms in your mind. She needs what you're about to say. Starlight, you are the kindest, sweetest, prettiest, most faithful, hard-working, smartest mare I know. You blurt stupidly, feeling your face grow hot. You've always kept a chipper attitude, even when you were at your lowest, and now? You chuckled warmly as you brush her cheek with a hoof, making her cheeks turn a few shades deeper. After knowing all that you've went through, all you've done, all you've fought, how could I not think more of you? You've been dragged through the worst of worst that fate could throw at you, and in the end you fought off with your own prejudice and hatred, and turned yourself around, going from a pretty mare with a heart of stone to a beautiful mare with a heart of gold. What more could one pony ask from another? Both of your cheeks are as bright as the sun set by now, and you've only now noticed how close your faces had gotten. Both of you realize what is happening in time and turn away from each other, clearing your throats awkwardly.
Oh! Thank you.
She stammers, using her magic to twirl a lock of her hair. Truth is truth, Glim. I'm just stating the facts. You squeak before clearing your throat. After spending the next few minutes avoiding eye contact and stargazing peacefully, you both decide it's time for you to head to your homes. Wordlessly, you each stand up and give a meaningful nod to each other. Your heart is racing as she purposely makes prolonged eye contact, offering you the cutest smile you've ever seen. Making a small gamble, you scratch the back of your neck with a hoof. So, my place is right on the way to your palace. Want to stop for a bit? I've got some decent board games. And just when you thought her eyes could not be any brighter,
Sure!
She blurts, nodding eagerly. Smiling eagerly at her acceptance, you extend your elbow in a gentle cult-like fashion. She giggles and takes your arm as you both walk to the exit.
I'm so glad to have a friend like you.
She sighs, placing her head on your shoulder. Any other day, you would have winced, but you've come to accept this by now. And after what you've been able to do for her tonight, you'd take 1,000 more friend zones if you were ever able to help her like that again. That's all that mattered to you now. Besides, there's always tonight to try and tell her how you feel, right? The walk back to your house was relaxed and enjoyable. You and Starlight had spent most of the time chatting and sharing life stories of trials and errors past. You aren't sure, but you feel a spark between her and you, as if your bond was somehow growing stronger. You almost catch her staring at you a few times, but you're never sure if that's just your imagination. Once you arrive at your house, you open the door rather unceremoniously, yet graciously offer her to enter first, upholding your philosophy of ladies first. Giggling, Starlight bows slightly before entering your humble abode. You follow soon after, and close the door behind you. Once inside, she admires the interior of the shack, giving a low whistle at the decor.
You sure know how to make a house into a palace, don't you?
She chuckles. You shrug. I find it helps with customer satisfaction, so yeah, you say awkwardly. After a moment of awkward silence, you're panicking internally, until a thought enters Starlight's mind.
Did you say you had board games?
Oh, thank Faust. You sigh to yourself. This mare is a godsend of anti-awkwardness. You nod rather eagerly and gesture towards your couch. In fact, I do. I'll go dig up a few options and you make yourself at home. You stay behind to make sure she's comfortable, and let her know about the spare cider in the fridge. After you're assured of her comfort, you head upstairs and open the first closet you see. It's filled to the brim with board games of all types and sizes, from chess to Monopoly, and even a couple you made yourself. You pick out 3 options: checkers, Othello, and that Shadow Spade game Rarity had recommended to you. You're about to bring them downstairs when a frightening thought smashes through your conscious.
Holy shit, you forgot to close that damn notebook!
In a panic, you race down the stairs and back out into the living room, only to find the most terrifying sight you'd ever thought you'd see. Starlight Glimmer, sitting motionless, staring into your open notebook. Your heart races as you examine her reaction. Her hoof has been daintily lifted to her chest, and was currently held over her heart. Her mouth was formed into a small O, and her eyes were wide, and filled to the brim with fresh tears. Her face was so red you'd swear you could fry eggs on it, and several tear trails marked her cheeks. Heart sinking, you sulk over to the notebook and close it with a hoof. Her lack of motion, aside from moving her eyes from the book to your own, smites you with despair. You sit down, writhing inside from utter defeat, and let out a sad sigh that shudders your entire form. So, now you know. Nothing. No movement. No signals. No reaction. As soon as she leaves this house out of terror, you swear you're going to quietly recede back to your room and starve to death.
I never meant for you to find out. Well, not like this anyways.
You choke.
I've just always had these feelings.
Never mind. You must think I'm a creep. You get up and sulk back towards the stairs. I'll just go put the games away. We don't need them anymore. I'm sorry for this. For all of it. Just go. You feel a tear swell up behind your eyes as you turn away from her for the last time. You slink up the stairs, kicking the games into the cupboard, and walk at a snail's pace into your bedroom, closing the door behind you. After what seems like an eternity, you hear the front door close, and you finally break down, shuffling onto your bed. It hurt, all of it. You've lost your best friend. A small piece of your heart is slightly relieved that she finally knows. But that speck started floating around loosely when your heart shattered. Once you were sure she was out of range, you clench your hooves, rear your head, and scream in utter anguish out of what you've done. After letting it all out, you curl up into a ball and give up. That lovely smile will never appear before your eyes again. Those luscious orbs of pure ocean sapphire will never twinkle the same way when you're around. She'll most likely either just stay around to be polite, or avoid you altogether, and you're not even sure which one of those you'd prefer. Suddenly, you hear the front door slam shut, and violent hoofsteps running toward the stairs. Groggily, you stand up and head towards the door. Whatever beating you got from her, you probably deserved at this point. The door flew open, and in it stood a very, very pissed-looking Starlight. Tears still marked her cheeks. Her face was still red as hell, but her face was one of utter determination. You fall to your knees and bow your head, ready for a painful journey to the afterlife, when you suddenly feel the force of a freight train crash into you, pinning you to the ground. You're prepared for the inevitable contact of her hooves to your eyes, yet you're greeted with another thing entirely. While your eyes are still closed, you feel her press her lips against yours, forcing your eyes to shoot open. You look her face over to make sure you're not going crazy, and sure enough, her face was scrunched up into pure... Well, you don't know any words to describe what her face betrayed, but you're certainly confused by it, and her cheeks somehow grew redder at the contact. Her lips were soft and delicate, yet they held a degree of firm passion and care. The taste of mint flowed into your mouth as hers caressed yours, and you slowly let yourself relax as your hooves wrap around her back. But it was all over too soon, as she broke the kiss and stared into your eyes. There was a new sparkle there, one you'd never seen in any other pony's eyes before, and yet you knew exactly what it meant. Unexpectedly, however, she grabs you with her magic and shakes you in midair like a rag doll, screaming in your face the whole time.
For the love of the Celestials, why didn't you ever tell me? I've been in love with you for a plucking month! Do you even know how long that is in female years?
She places you back on the ground and immediately gets into your face, staring at you with rage.
Now, if you don't kiss me in the next 5 seconds, I'm going to freeze you into crystal and drop you from...
You, in spite of your gentlemanly nature, don't even give her time to finish. All you needed to hear was her saying, "Kiss me," and you were lost. You thrust your lips into hers in one sudden movement, taking your turn to have a face on fire. If rational thought was water, Starlight just dropped a great heap of magnesium into yours. Instincts took over as you lifted a hoof to wrap around her neck. You feel her mirror the action as she moans into your lips. At this distance, you can even smell the peach shampoo that she uses, and it complements her perfume perfectly. You let all your passion flow into your lips as she does the same. Every tilt of your head is mirrored seamlessly, and she never resists your embrace. By the time you break it, you're both panting, and you feel sweat across your brow, accompanied by the most intense blush you'd ever had. Starlight seems to be faring about the same. So, does this mean? You begin, only to have Starlight nod wordlessly. After a few more moments of silently staring into your eyes, or vice versa, you really don't care by now. She decides it's time to head home, and with a final hug, she stands up.
See you tomorrow?
She asks hopefully. Still trying to convince yourself that this is not a dream, you nod slightly. Try and stop me from seeing you. You chuckle, walking her out of your bedroom. Giggling, she stays behind to let you walk her to the front door, and you open it theatrically. My lady! You squeal as the thunderbolt rips the sky in two, making you both jump. You glare outside in disbelief as a downright torrent of deluge swamps the ground for as far as you can see, and several hail pellets the size of golf balls punch the wet ground with disgusting cracks and clicks. Well, I'm sorry, Starlight, but I'm not letting you go out into that star. You freeze from the look she's giving you, eyes half lidded, lips slightly bit, and eyebrows jumping twice. You feel heat rush back to your face as she lights her horn and drags you closer to her. You also hear the door slam rather violently, and next instant, you're face to face with the mayor. Look, it's not that I don't love you, but... Suddenly she bursts out into hysterical fits of laughter and pulls you in for a tight embrace.
I'm just playing with you, Anon. I'll stay on the couch tonight.
She says, catching her breath. It's your turn to be kind, as a simple resolution makes itself defined in your head. How about I take the couch tonight? You need a soft bed more than I do. Besides, I sleep on the couch most days anyways. It's comfy. She gives you an unsure look.
You sure about that?
You nod in response. Absolutely, my little star. Her face grows red at the nickname, and she smiles shyly. She chuckles to herself as she recedes to the stairs, before looking back to you one last time.
Good night, Anon,
she says, her voice smooth as soothing sasharine. Good night, Starlight, you reply, feeling your heart warm at the sight of that beautiful smile of hers. Once she was up the stairs, you go to a spare closet and pull out a large, fluffy blanket. You may have given up your bed, but you're not sacrificing all comfort unless there was a need to. That couch was going to kill your back anyways, so why not enjoy whatever joy you could scavenge? Still, as long as Starlight's comfortable, that's all that matters to you. You blow out the torches, wrap yourself in the down blanket, and very, very, very slowly drift off to sleep. In your discomforted sleep, you dream that you're flying, and can even imagine yourself moving gracefully through the air. You fly up a steep hill, barely missing the jagged stones made as steps, and lay down in a soft meadow. There, a great soft-furred hare hops over, and pulls you in for a tight embrace. A A few hours later, you stir from your sleep and open your eyes to see Starlight cuddled up next to you, and find yourself back in your own bed. Starlight is shivering slightly under the blanket, making you subconsciously wrap a hoof around her and pull her closer. Nothing was wrong with a little cuddling once in a while, especially when she's so chilly. A smile graces her lips once more, as you both drift back into dreamland. Outside, a certain prismatic Pegasus and a particular lavender alicorn admire their handiwork, as the slight flooding prevented any normal ponies from leaving your house.
Wait, can't you just teleport out?
Rainbow asks, turning over to Twilight. Twilight chuckles to herself and turns back to fly to her palace.
Do you really think she'll suggest it?
She laughs, taking to the air. Shrugging, Rainbow Dash soon follows suit.